This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(8:45). This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj, read by Soundithabam. The President says that there will be many surprises in the budget. Sri Lanka gears up for the API Asia Conference 2023 to fuel digital transformation and innovation. The government prioritizes development projects in 2024 budget allocation amid economic crisis. The President says a rapid development will be carried out to establish business and industrial zones island-wide, similar to the Biagama Free Trade Zone, within the next 15 to 20 years. A national foreign employment policy will be devised with the support of intellectuals and scholars. The Inland Revenue Bill to be debated this week. State Minister Sita Arembapola says the women and children are mostly used for illicit trade activities. In foreign news, at least 16 people killed in eastern Ukraine, Zelensky. In sports, the Asia Cup, Pakistan in command in the match against Bangladesh. President Ranil Wickremesinghe told Parliament that there will be surprises in the 2024 budget, including a proposal to tax primary bond dealers. The President made this comment in response to an allegation by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa, who alleged that the government is to put EPF holders in jeopardy by charging a 30% tax if it does not opt to participate in the debt optimization process. The President said, quote, "We will tax the primary bond dealers through the next budget and you will find surprises in the 2025 budget," unquote. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that a rapid development will be carried out to establish business industrial zones island-wide, similar to the Biagama Free Trade Zone, within the next 15 to 20 years. The underdeveloped Biagama area has seen a rapid development after the establishment of the Free Trade Zone. The whole country will be converted to an investment zone and investment opportunities will be open to the world countries, the President added. The President made these comments while participating at a function to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Al-Mubarak Vidyalaya in Malvana this afternoon. The President was given a warm welcome by the school children and officials. Addressing the audience, the President said that a few places are identified, including Bingiria, Hambantota, Kandy and Trincomalee, and the Northern Province for Industrial Zone establishment. A national foreign employment policy will be devised with the support of intellectuals and scholars. State Minister Jagat Pushpakumara said a cabinet paper in this regard has been submitted. In addition to this, the Foreign Employment Bureau Act will be amended. The State Minister made these comments at a media conference held at the Presidential Media Centre this afternoon. A special policy will be formulated for the migrant workers as well. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Sri Lankan party leaders have decided to debate the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill on Wednesday and Thursday evening. Sri Lanka's Supreme Court determined that the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill can be passed in Parliament by a simple majority. Speaker Mahindayapa Abewardena, announcing the determination in Parliament yesterday, said that the Supreme Court has held that neither the bill nor any of its provisions is inconsistent with Article 12 of any provisions of the Constitution. The Federation of Information Technology Sri Lanka, FITIS, is all set to host the eagerly awaited API Asia Conference 2023 for the second time, with this year's event scheduled to take place on November 16th at the Shangri-La Hotel in Colombo. The event was officially launched today at the Presidential Media Centre under the patronage of the State Minister of Technology, Kanaka Herath. Accompanied by several distinguished government and industry officials, the President's Media Division reported. While addressing the launch ceremony, State Minister of Technology, Kanaka Herath, emphasized the vital role for this year's conference would play in advancing Sri Lanka's digital economy. The conference will focus on three critical pillars: artificial intelligence, AI, smart cities and financial technology, fintech, which are essential components of the digital ecosystem. One of the central initiatives highlighted by the State Minister is the Digi Econ Sri Lanka 2030 program, launched under the leadership of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Digi Econ 2030 is a national digital acceleration initiative aligned with the industry's efforts to accelerate Industry 4.5 and beyond, along with a focus on the information and communication technology and business process management sector, the PMD said. The API Asia Conference 2023 is expected to attract over 500 professionals, including industry and business leaders, as well as technology experts. Under the theme, Fueling the Digital Economy, the conference will feature esteemed global speakers from the Asia-Pacific region. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
State Minister Sita Arambepola said the women and children are mostly used for illicit trade activities. The time has arisen to stop this menace. The State Minister also said a discussion in this regard will be held with the police, local government bodies and the National Child Protection Authority. This information is revealed when the Advisory Committee on Women and Child Affairs and Social Empowerment was held at the Parliamentary Complex under the chairmanship of State Ministers Sita Arambepola and Anupa Paskal. That came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the health officials warn that several diseases are rapidly spreading among children with the prevailing weather conditions in the island. Dr. Deepal Pereira, specialist doctor at the Lady Ridgeway Children's Hospital in Colombo, states that conditions such as dehydration are common within children these days. Therefore, Dr. Pereira also recommended that children should be provided with more liquids during these days. Furthermore, the specialist doctor claimed that the diseases like diarrhea can also spread widely among children with the prevailing dry weather, and came to you in Watchlight.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of...
It's the power to live life your way. The power to be a trendsetter. Power to you with digital banking from Commercial Bank. Commercial Bank. Our interest is in you.
Making headlines tonight, Ukraine war, 16 killed in missile attack on market. Trump's White House chief of staff pleads not guilty in Georgia case. And Aung San Suu Kyi ill but denied urgent care, says son. At least 16 people have been killed in a missile attack on the Ukrainian city of Kostyantynivka, and President Volodymyr Zelensky, who blamed Russia, said those killed were people who did nothing wrong and warned the death toll could increase. The city in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region is near the front line. This Russian evil must be defeated as soon as possible, Mr. Zelensky added. The authorities in Moscow are yet to comment on the claims. Former U.S. President Donald Trump's White House chief of staff has pleaded not guilty to criminal charges in the state of Georgia, where the ex-president and 18 allies are accused of seeking to subvert the 2020 election results. Mark Meadows on Tuesday also waived a formal arrangement, in this case joining Trump and the other co-defendants in skipping the court hearings that had been scheduled for this week in Fulton County Superior Court in Atlanta. Myanmar's detained former leader Aung San Suu Kyi is being denied medical care despite her ill health, her son has said. Kim Aris said the junta ruling the country blocked prison authorities' request for his mother's urgent care. Sources familiar with the matter told the BBC Burmese severe toothaches had left the 78-year-old unable to eat. However, a junta spokesman said Mrs. Suu Kyi is in good health and gets checkups from military and civilian doctors. Back to the headlines of the world news. Ukraine war, 16 killed in missile attack on market. Trump's White House chief of staff pleads not guilty in Georgia case. And Aung San Suu Kyi ill but denied urgent care, says son. With that, we conclude this bulletin of world news.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of...
This message is for all the kids between the ages of 4 and 16 who love to draw. Commercial Bank's Arunalu Sittam is back once again. This time, the competition is also open to Sri Lankan kids currently living abroad. First, second and third place prizes will be awarded along with special merit and merit certificates. For more information, visit the Commercial Bank website. We have so many prizes to be won.
Development News is brought to you by
Job opportunities for well-experienced housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait for ages 40 to 58 years. Salary 125,000 rupees. Contact 037 7500 500.
The government said yesterday it has decided to allocate budget funds for the year 2024 in a strategic step aimed at leading the country towards its ambitious 2048 development goals and easing the existing economic crisis. The focus will be on prioritizing projects capable of contributing to both long-term development objectives and immediate economic stability till foreign funds can be fully accessed. Cabinet co-spokesman and Minister Bandulu Gunawardena said at the post-cabinet meeting media briefing yesterday. That came to you in Development News.
Job opportunities for women from Deshakti Lanka in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Oman. Housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia, ages 40 to 58 years. Arabic speaking and well-experienced home cooks. Salary 125,000 rupees. Interviews are now on with foreign agents. You can travel overseas free of charge now. Branches Colombo, Kurunegala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 0377 500 500. Deshakti Lanka Foreign Employment Agency.
On to sports news, the seventh match of the Asia Cup between Pakistan and Bangladesh is being played at the Lahore Stadium, Pakistan, as a day and night encounter. Batting first, Bangladesh were bowled out for 193. In reply, Pakistan were 94 for 2 in 21 overs a short while ago. That's sports news, business news up next.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekat life eke change ekat niyamata set wenna as wahagena dakapugina habe karanna youth ekat niyamata set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In a bid to mainly promote local SME products to the state of Victoria in Australia, the Sri Lanka and Australia Chamber of Commerce organised a visit of an 11-member high-profile Australian trade delegation to Sri Lanka. The team, currently in Sri Lanka until September 10th, will be closely looking at organic food and local fabrics that could be exported to the Australian market. The Australian trade delegation also includes representatives including notable figures from the Aboriginal Economic Development Group, the Victoria State Government and other prominent business entities. That's business news, economic news up next.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekat life eke change ekat niyamata set wenna as wahagena dakapugina habe karanna youth ekat niyamata set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. Reforms to improve the SOE performance and reduce losses and liabilities are critical for Sri Lanka's recovery and the sustained growth. And it's heartening to see the government's ongoing commitment to reform and to hear their ambitious plan going forward. Takafumi Kodono, Country Director of the Sri Lanka Resident Mission ADB, told the Serendipity Knowledge Programme held yesterday in Colombo. He said there needs to be real reforms to enable SOE to be much more commercial and professional, and as a first step, establishing the SOE restructuring unit under the leadership of Suresh Shah in Sri Lanka, and introducing new legal and regulatory frameworks including a SOE policy, SOE Act and plans to establish a SOE holding company were bold steps taken by the government. That's economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says that showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, Sabragamo and northwestern provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Martura districts. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters are likely at some places in the western and Sabragama provinces and in the Gaul and Martara districts. A few showers may occur in the Mana and Hamadara districts and in the North Central province. Fairly strong winds, about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour, can be expected at times in the western slopes of the Central Hills, northwestern, northern and north central provinces, and in the Trincomalee and Hamadara districts. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The President says that there will be many surprises in the budget. Sri Lanka gears up for the API Asia Conference 2023 to fuel digital transformation and innovation. The government prioritizes development projects in 2024, budget allocation amid economic crisis. The President says a rapid development will be carried out to establish business industrial zones island-wide, similar to the Biagama Free Trade Zone, within the next 15 to 20 years. A national foreign employment policy will be devised with the support of intellectuals and scholars. The Inland Revenue Bill to be debated this week. The State Minister Sita Aramapola says women and children are mostly used for illicit trade activities. At least 16 people killed in eastern Ukraine, Zelensky. Asia Cup, Pakistan in command in the match against Bangladesh. With that, we conclude tonight's news broadcast.